This is KUGAN CASSIUS for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Saudi Arabia here. How you doing, Tim?
I'm good. How you doing?
Are you Tim or Timothy?
I'm Tim.
Does your mother call you Timothy?
She calls me Timmy.
Timmy?
Yeah.
Okay. Can we call you Timmy?
Yeah. I can call me Timmy.
So for people that don't know, probably should know now because obviously there was, I think, a story in the Mail recently that you did regarding your sparring camp with Anthony Joshua.
Yeah.
So first of all, how's that been?
It's been great, man. Came to camp September 22nd, and I've been in the whole camp, been in the whole time. And we out here in Saudi now.
Okay. Now, your man there, Naz, just said to me, try and find out.
The Don.
The Don Naz. Friend to all.
Yeah.
Friend to all.
Friend to all.
Friend to all. To ask you about you actually getting here. So what's the story behind that?
Man, so the first fight happened, and I was trying to get in camp for the first Joshua Ruiz fight. So I did myself. I messaged Eddie. I messaged Anthony. I messaged them, wrote on their pages, tried to spam them myself to get into the camp. And I know Joey DeWico, and I knew that he was going to Miami for the last leg of the camp. So I was like, man, try to get me in camp. And he said he'll do the best he can. So that was the closest I got the first time. So the second time, when, unfortunately, my man had lost the fight, I was sad about him losing, but I was like, this is a second chance for me to try to get in this camp. So I'm going to do it bigger this time. Because I had a couple more fights. And I asked everybody that was following me, I said, they're in New York right now for the press conference. I said, everybody just go to Eddie Hearn's page and just spam his page and spam Joshua's page and try to get their attention to say that, hey, let's get Tim in camp. Let's get Mayhem over in camp. So they spammed his page, and I was like, damn, it's not enough. So I typed in Anthony Joshua's name in the Google search thing. I typed in Anthony Joshua's team. I said, I'm going to pull up a picture of all the team, and I'm going to find the closest person to him. So I typed his name in, and there was a picture that came up right after he won all the belts. He had about 40 people around him, and they had numbers next to their heads. So I said, all right, now I'm going to try to find the closest person to him, like who he's embracing the most about this win. So I looked, and he had his arm around KD, David Ganza.
Yeah.
And I said, that's the guy I got to find. So I seen David Ganza. I looked on Instagram. I found him on Instagram. I seen that he had a following, but it wasn't as big as like AJ or Eddie. So I was like, I know I can get in touch with this guy. So I inboxed him, messaged him, and Eddie Hearn messaged me back right before they got or as they were getting on the plane to go to New York. Well, when I heard from KD said that Eddie had seen everybody spamming him about me, and him and KD were talking. They went to my Instagram page. They seen a few of my clips, and they was like, "Yeah, for the first leg, of the camp, let's see if he can come out and give Anthony some work." So they asked me. They said, "Do you have a passport?" I said, "No, but I'll get one." So I think at this point, KD was like, he don't even have a passport. He's not serious. So me and my fiance, I jumped on a plane, man, and flew to Chicago. Waited in Chicago for 6.5, 7 hours. Got my passport, took a picture of my passport, sent it straight to KD. And he was like, well, can you be on a plane next week to come to camp? I said, I'll be on the plane tomorrow if you book it. So I flew back home from Chicago. The following week, jumped on a plane and came to London. Nas picked me up, and I've been here ever since. Been in camp ever since, September 22nd.
That's quite incredible, really, to think that you've literally gone, I'm going to get in camp. I don't care what it takes. I'm getting in camp.
I was determined.
And you did what you had to do, and you got in camp.
I did. But funny thing, though, he didn't tell me until about 3-4 weeks in. Nas didn't disclose this to me. He said I was on a 1-week trial. So I had 2 sessions to prove that I was able to help Joshua, or they was going to send me home. If I would have known that, I probably would have broke under the pressure. But each
And he
week.
quit his job too, to be.
Oh yeah. I quit my job.
You
to come
quit your
here.
job to go to camp with Joshua.
I had two. I was like a carpenter, so like I did renovations, like different things on houses, and I cleaned carpet on the side. And I also was a supervisor at like a hotel for like housekeeping. Neither one of them really wanted to let me go, so I said, okay.
It's mad, isn't it? And kind of one thing I just picked up on what you said there, like without social media, you're not getting in camp.
Nah.
The fact that you could use that as a tool to kind of
To reach somebody.
to reach someone out.
Yeah, the magnitude.
Otherwise, how would you do it? You're
Yeah.
going to turn up at their house or turn up in camp? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
That's the alternative, which you're not going to do. So, well, actually, you're a bit crazy. So maybe
Probably. I
maybe
probably
you would have done
would've
that to
did
him.
Showed up with my duffel bag
Yeah.
on the front step.
But no, fair play to you because, like I said, you wanted to do something and you've done it, and you've
Yeah.
made sacrifices along the way. So,
How silly would I have felt if I quit my job and got sent home the same week?
but you didn't, and you're here in Saudi, so you know. So I read the story on the Mail, and it's quite interesting because from all like the sparring partners Joshua's had in camp and in general, people say a little bit, but obviously you've got to respect the code of being in camp and
Yeah.
not really talking too much about tactics and specific kind of
Right.
things you're working on. We get that, that's all. But there were some interesting things that were quoted from you about, sparring partners being dropped and
Yeah.
Joshua being rocked. I mean,
So I was asked by someone, they said, we heard that Joshua has been rocked and hurt. I said, Joshua ain't been rocked or hurt at all. I said, he's been hurting people. He's been hitting people and hurting people. I never gave any specifics into any names.
see,
or
that's the
anything.
problem with sometimes articles, and I'm not saying that, like I said, the Mail are very respectable, etc., and whoever, but when you're talking on camera, you're explaining how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes when you're reading stuff and you're reading quotes as well,
Yeah.
you could look at that
Yeah, so he had asked.
subjectively.
So a couple of people had asked me, had he been hurt? I said, no, he's been doing the hurt. He's sharp. He's ready. He's really sharp. This last session we had, he was really on.
But you said you've seen Anthony drop sparring partners. Did you say that, or am I making this up?
I said that he's been doing the rocking.
The rocking.
Yeah.
So that could be against the ropes, that could be a moment, that could be anything. So you're not being specific.
There could be somebody out on their feet.
Could be someone out on their feet, yeah.
There could be me out on my feet.
It could be. Because you mentioned Joey Dueco, and Joey obviously blew up a few months ago where the stories were rife that he was the one that kind of dropped Joshua, and
Yeah.
a lot of fighters in the UK have kind of had that plaudit as well. I
Yeah.
think Lawrence Okoli, Daniel Dubois, all these guys have kind of, and I get it from their point of view, they're not kind of coming out and saying, nah, that didn't happen. They're kind of coming out and saying it may have happened or may have not, because I understand that as well. Because
Yeah.
if you, especially guys like I said, Dubois and Okoli, who kind of building their names up.
Yeah.
If
It does help.
It does help, of course.
But
it
it's
helps.
to each his own, If that's how they, want to get their, spike into the limelight, that's fine. But with me, I'm just gonna give you the 100% honest truth. You know what I mean? He hasn't been rocked this camp. He ain't been shook this camp. Nothing. He's the one that's on. You know what I mean?
Because if you wanted to give me a headline like "I dropped Joshua," that would go in the title straight away.
Oh my gosh, no, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that at all.
It's all good. No.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say that at all. Matter of fact, he raised me up on one of my foot one time. They ain't calling a big man for no reason, man.
No, absolutely. But I was talking to Bryant about this. I was talking to Andrew DeBeatty about this. This is heavyweight sparring and heavyweight boxing. Big guys, things happen. I mean,
Yeah, they do. But I mean, like Drew said, this guy's he's sharp, he's ready.
Who else have you sparred with, Tim?
I sparred with
As in your career and
just period.
yeah.
I did some rounds with BY, Brian Jennings. I I did a few rounds with Andrew Tabiti. I did some rounds with the big German heavyweight, Hussein Muhammad.
Yeah.
And I even sparred with our Mexican brother, Elvis Garcia.
Okay. He's been in camp as well.
Yeah, he's been in camp. Yeah. Elvis has been in camp maybe, how long Elvis been in? About that? Yeah. So about 10 weeks. He's been held up. We kept him under the table.
Yeah, we're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to him, Naz, at some point before the week's out. So obviously, I'm not asking you to go into kind of specifics of, but how was sparring Joshua for you?
Man, it was great. Since the first time I've gotten here, I think that every person that he's brought into camp has done something to make me better. Not only him, not only Coach Rob, not only KD, Coach Joby, Angel. Everybody's contributed to me as much as they have. It feels like for me as much as they have for Joshua. So every week, whether it be small things, Drew tells me small things. Bryant, Drew's big brother, Cello, Nas. Everybody always gives me different tips and hints and things that I can do to improve myself. And I feel like I've gotten better each week I've been here. Each week. Yeah, Banger too. Banger's like my strength and conditioning coach out here. After every sparring session, he kills me out. He kills me out. Kills all of us out. When the other guys came, I turned them on to this. Hey, come do the strength and conditioning with me and Banger. So they're like, we'll do it. After the strength and conditioning, we're dead. But each week I had got stronger with it. Jamie, the whole team. Everybody. I feel like it's done nothing but just make me better. So this next fight, when I come out, it's gonna be fireworks. It's gonna be fireworks.
What would you say about his power, Tim?
It's definitely the hardest I've ever been hit, bar none. I know a lot of people say that, I've only got 5 fights. You ain't been in there with too many people, but I've got about 100 amateur fights, and I've sparred a lot of people, and I've had amateur fights against a lot of guys that have power, and his by far is. So my coach, he categorizes power. You got popping power, so people who it takes time for them to build up and knock you down, and then you got guys who have just brute strength, like just one shot and it's over. He's definitely got that one shot, it's over. He can hit me up here and I feel it in my big toe. So he's definitely he's a brute. They laughing because he hit me up here and I felt it in my big toe.
Okay.
A couple times, but like I said, each time I gotten better and better and better, and learned more about myself as far as like what I need to do against somebody at that higher level with all of these guys that I spar, because everybody here is further ahead of me in the game. You got world-class cruiserweight, world-class heavyweights, you know what I mean? So I've done nothing but learn from this experience. I'm blessed that I've been able to be here since September 22nd.
Well, I suppose judging on what happens on Saturday, kind of will follow on to what happens in future camps, because a successful camp always leads people to use the same people involved in the camp.
Oh yeah.
It's like when it goes wrong, it's like, right, what changes are we making? But
right.
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Exactly, I agree. Go ahead and make the UK my second home.
That's it. Go and live with Naz.
Yeah, Nas. He's got enough room for me.
Definitely.
The Don. The Sheffield Don.
The Sheffield Don.
We call him the Sheffield Don.
He's the Alabama Don as well, I heard as well.
He's the Alabama Don too.
That's it. All right, well listen, Tim, have you got anything else you'd kind of like to add?
No, just follow me at mayhem_Moten and on my Instagram, and Timothy Moten for my Facebook. Be on the lookout for me.
What part of America are you from?
I'm from Louisville, Kentucky.
Okay.
Home of Ali.
Home of Ali.
Yeah, Muhammad Ali.
Of course. All right, well listen, I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll grab another word with you at some point in the week. It's only in the middle of the week, got a press conference today.
Yeah.
So I appreciate your time, Timmy.
All right, on IFLTV.tv.
Top man, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
It is special. Absolute dynamite. Oh!